All right, today we're going to talk about the one and only Khamzat Chimaev, who of course has a huge fight against Robert Whittaker this weekend in Abu Dhabi. And more importantly, we're going to talk about Khamzat Chimaev and can he become the champion of the world? Certainly so far, he's doing fantastic things.
Kill everybody!
Undefeated, 13-0, and most of the time he's absolutely breezed through the competition. He's made it look easy. 13-0, 6 knockouts, 5 submissions, and way back since he signed with the UFC back in 2020 on Fight Island, of course, straight away, the UFC knew they had an absolute superstar on their hands. Submitted John Phillips in just 1 minute, 12 seconds. Followed that up 10 days later, which actually set a record. Knocked out Rhys McKee in 3 minutes. Then he knocks out Gerald Meerschaert, destroys Li Jingliang, has a conversation with Dana White as he's carrying him across the octagon before choking him out. And then he starts to run into a little bit of adversity. Goes up against Gilbert Burns, of course, we know the drill. Dominated in the first, second, and third very close because he got tired. Comes back, defeats Kevin Holland by a Bravo choke again in the first round, just 2 minutes, and then last time out on Abu Dhabi last year, October 23, goes up against the former pound-for-pound #1, the former welterweight king, Kamaru Usman, at 185 pounds on very short notice, and again wins a majority decision. The reason I say, can Khamzat Chimaev become the champion, is for several reasons. Of course, he's got a tough fight against Robert Whittaker this weekend. We know. Okay, Robert Whittaker's not an easy man to get by. And if he does that, you got to think there will be a championship fight some point in the near future. But the real question boils down to self-discipline. Can Khamzat control his pace, his temper, his anger, his emotions? Can he watch his diet? And can he go 5 rounds hard? Because when he went up against Kamaru Usman, yeah, he destroyed Kamaru Usman in the first round. But again, just like against Gilbert Burns, slowed down in the second and the third. So what does that mean? Well, it means that Khamzat Chimaev is probably the best one-round fighter that we have in the UFC. I am telling you, this man is unbelievable. We saw him just recently wrestling with an Olympic gold medalist wrestler. He got the gold in Paris. Okay, 76 kilos, but still, he was kind of dominating that position. We've seen him against Luke Rockhold grappling now. Luke Rockhold is an incredibly talented jiu-jitsu player, and he was giving him more than he could handle on the ground. So he's got the wrestling. He's got the jiu-jitsu. He's got the knockout power. Just ask Gerald Meerschaert. One shot, boom, right hand, 17 seconds, put him all to sleep. But once he gets out the first round, he starts to slow down. Now, why is that? Because I'm sure Khamzat Chimaev trains really hard. The man started freestyle wrestling at just 5 years old. He's been involved in some form of combat sports his entire life. And you don't get as good at those things as Khamzat is unless you're willing to train hard. Simple as that. And I've heard from sources in the training room back in Sweden that I am telling you, this man would just go through opponent, training partner after training partner after training partner, non-stop work ethic through the absolute roof. So what's going on? Maybe it's the weight cuts. Maybe the weight cuts are so bad that it starts to slow him down as the fight progresses. Or maybe he doesn't pace himself, okay? I always use this analogy. You can't be a marathon runner and a sprinter at the same time. The body just doesn't work like that. You can't run 100 meters in record-breaking time and then go out there and run 26 miles at a decent time either. The body's made up in different ways. The sprinters, they're fast-twitch muscle fibers, okay? And it requires a lot of blood and oxygen in the muscles. It's just a different physiological makeup. Khamzat Chimaev, certainly, fast-twitch muscle fiber, very, very strong, very aggressive, very skilled, very talented, very technical, okay? But he doesn't pace himself. Against Robert Whittaker, this weekend, that is going to be absolutely crucial. We know Robert Whittaker has all of the ability and all of the experience and all the skills to go 5 rounds. And he's probably tough enough to weather the storm. Of course, he's going to get hold of Robert. He's going to pick him up and take him down. He's done that to everybody he likes to. He could even knock him down if he wants to. I always say, best takedown in the game, left hook Larry. Let's go. But Robert Whittaker's going to push him, okay? And he's going to probably push him over 5 rounds. Now, let's just assume he gets through Robert Whittaker this weekend. We know in the middleweight division right now, Sean Strickland's probably next against Dricus du Plessis sometime early next year, okay? So you'd think that Khamzat Chimaev would be the next person in line. And sure enough, if Khamzat can do that, if he can get through Whittaker, he will be 14-0, beating Whittaker, Usman, Holland, Gilbert Burns. These are all big names. These are all hard people to beat. And then that would also mean that Khamzat will be on an 8-fight win streak. And as I said, a superstar in the organization. Any other person, they're getting a title fight. So maybe Khamzat will be up next. And the question is, can he become the champion? Well, let's just look at that. Let's just assume that he gets Strickland or he gets Dricus. The problem is, if Strickland wins, we're probably going to see a rematch between Strickland and Dricus because, well, they're one apiece and you've got to do the rubber match and you've got to finalize it once and for all. But let's just assume that Dricus du Plessis gets the job done, beats Sean Strickland again, if indeed that is the fight that goes down. Well, I would be very confident in Khamzat going up against Dricus. I'm not saying he would win. I am not saying he would run through Dricus du Plessis. Du Plessis is big, he's strong, he's tough, he hits hard, he can push through it. He's apparently had his own cardio issues in the past, but the man's mentally strong enough to push through it. And that's what Khamzat's going to show this weekend. We all get tired. As fighters, we're all getting tired. I was known for my cardio. I had a resting heart rate of 32 beats a minute. I went to a hospital in Los Angeles because they did my heart readings and apparently my heart rate was so low. So then they were getting all concerned. They thought I might have been a candidate for sudden death syndrome. They strapped me up to all these kinds of machines. They said I was in better shape than all of the LA Lakers basketball team, okay? But all that aside, the point that I'm making is I still got tired. We all get tired. But are you mentally strong enough to push through it? We all want to stop. We all want to rest. Our arms feel like lead weights. Our lungs are absolutely on fire. But you don't give up. I do think Khamzat is strong enough to do that. I do think he can push through 5 rounds. I do think he's going to be disciplined enough to make sure that he makes weight, okay? There's a lot resting on this. We know that Khamzat Chimaev was meant to fight Whittaker earlier in the year in Saudi Arabia, but unfortunately he got sick.
Violently, and I mean violently ill.
Now, I'm hearing reports and rumors that outside of training camp, the man's a maniac. Well, no judgment there. I was a maniac myself back in the day. That's what makes us step into a cage in the first place. And he drives like an absolute nutter as well. You've probably heard the story about me, Darren Till, and Khamzat Chimaev in a car, and them two laughing their heads off, driving like maniacs, going the wrong way down a road at about 100 miles an hour. And I'm sitting in the back of the car, shitting my pants like a little girl, thinking, I just want to get home to my kids. Get me out of this car. What I'm saying is, though, that you put all that craziness together, you put the fact that he started wrestling at 5 years old, you put the fact that he's now on a 6 or 7 fight win streak in the UFC, undefeated overall, and on top of that, the man is a nasty bastard and probably feels like the division is moving along without him. You put all that together, Khamzat's coming into this one this weekend extremely motivated, and if he beats Robert Whittaker, I do believe that a middleweight championship will be in his future. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year. But the reality is he does have time on his side. Khamzat Chimaev is still only 30 years old. And there's a lot of maturing that goes on. There's a lot of experience that happens. It's on the journey of a mixed martial artist that you make little tweaks in terms of your diet, in terms of overtraining, in terms of how you prepare for a fight. Overtraining, undertraining, you hire a nutritionist, you cut weight a different way. These little tiny little tweaks along the way, they're what eventually makes you a champion. That was why I became champion of the world at 37 years old, okay? Because along the way, you're still figuring it out. You're still figuring out what works for you. Because mixed martial arts and the human body and sports science is not a one-size-fits-all. I'm really excited for Khamzat Chimaev versus Robert Whittaker this weekend. That is going to be a hell of a fight. And by the way, by the time you see this, I will be in Abu Dhabi and I'm speaking to Khamzat Chimaev this week. I'll be doing an interview, which of course will air on this channel. So if you have any questions that you want me to ask to the one and only Khamzat Chimaev himself, then please do me a favor. Ask it down there in the comment section. The best questions I will ask. Subscribe, like the video, ring the bell, all that good stuff. Put your question down there. I'll ask it to Khamzat on Wednesday. You guys take care. Thanks for watching.